All right, a little more on the dark side of the moon, the alien invasion, so-called, that petro system you've been under, that black gold. We went from the gold, the 999% purity, the flip on the 666. Everybody's basically been eating petrochemicals in one way, shape, or form. When I say everybody, that's the 80-20 rule as far as your world. When you look around and people's grocery carts or whatever, it's basically all just ultra-processed foods. And that MK Ultra processing of the people is among you as we've been pumping this black, yellow, gold liquid in a way from the earth, been consuming it in one way, shape, or form. When we burn it in our cars, we breathe it in. When we turn it into this, that, or the other, or put it in our foods and our drinks or whatever, or put it in a tin can, however, plastics, it's getting into the society. And those who are first are last, and those who are last are first. So there's different overlays as you're in this DNA helix. So as we're in negative space looking back, we have this church of Amen, this Amen, and we can look back and see these men and see these sequences in time and see this industrial age created and see in the millennium and see these rules that were taken off food and drink. And it's just been that time of the days of Noah and that corruption upon the earth in one way, shape, or form. And as we're under these tests and tests of men, we have these smart meters upon our house collecting the information in one way, shape, or form. And it's letting people know and letting the light know when to do that exam on the people. So that exam is upon the earth as you have your X-Files being set in one way, as you have your lip syncing sessions setting up. Elon Musk brought in the sync for the Twitter, and it's just a matter of time before he releases his information. And then you also have the alien files that are being withheld, so-called, and that's an X-File situation. So that X-File other situation would be some crazy girlfriend of another spectrum that would be shown and whatever else. So, and then you have your files, which is your flies and your past, future, present tense, which are your flus. And one flew over the cuckoo's nest, and the flu for the wings that you're getting, and the whatever wings taken out on the DC for that rebuild, and that Temple of Bell and the ballroom, all that shit all going together, dude. So, so the dawn is just coming in and bringing the surface to a war in a way. And as he does that, he cleanses this earth and starts a new heaven and earth, like for that month, week, day, and hour that we're told about. And it's kind of all going into those time frames. And either way, man, then you have the rapture as far as on a physical standpoint, where you're being told these aliens, and then how the alien files the church can't handle and whatever else. And then they have the files being related to demons, but demons is related to intelligence. So that's why the church doesn't want you to have the so-called demons, because they don't want you to be intelligent, because you're going to be smart enough to leave that thing and know that God is within all people. And oh man, you don't need the Bible, so-called. That Bible is just it's the right hand of the king, the right hand of the government to control you, to do those things. But either way, and then that's also a rebuilding of the church. And when you look back in the history that we're told, we can see these things in society, and we can see collapses in society, and all these things are upon you now. And and it's where Jesus, have you not read your scrolls? Like, it's all upon you. They're telling you everything right before it happens. They're giving you like years ahead of time. They even gave you a second coming to be prepared. And they let you know that the world's shutting down, this is happening, blah, blah, blah. All the people, go cleanse yourself from this world. Because you haven't kept up, in a way. And that's part of that rapture, being left behind, and the catch up that's going to be served for your sandwich. And ketchup does not work on every sandwich unless you're a little child and that little baby boomer. That kind of thing. It's all coming together, folks. It's where you can just look out wherever and see. Everything is built on these times. And that's what makes it even so more amazing. So knowing these amazing times, and we're seeing these things in the sky, and we can look around us and see these things that were talked about hundreds of years ago playing out in another way, as the oral tradition has kept the parrots locked in the cage. And how the lightning to the lightning that's mentioned is playing out to where, and also how the sun and moon and the planets and stuff go around our earth and the sky clock, and one is over here and one is over here. This is where you see Clinton here and then Obama here, and they're doing this and stuff over here. And then you have the third terms being talked about, and the collision of worlds, and those types of things, as it's merging and pushing out anew and whatever else. So the underworld, I would assume the 12 tribes and the 144,000, which connects to the 666, these will be kind of the pre-planted, in a way, Israel's through the Red Queen or the serpent seed, or those kinds of things that's been going on, and through the food and drink and whatever else. But it can be where you have the 666, where these things divide up in a multiple spectrum of 3 sets of 144,000 or whatever. But this would be like the foundation for like what we saw in the Wuhan. All right. And that Wall June, if you want to flip some stuff around, that Washington June for the June fans, and that dragon and the Lee, and these Lees who've been tracking, the Lee is tied to the lie, and the lie is tied to the ash, and the oil, and that boil, that Bible oil. And that is coming for that hard part. But they might be done with the combs and just get on to the pick for the that frozen session, a little ice age. And ice is part of that cold that goes into the melting, that melt-in. All right. The dropped in that warm water. They're just putting the ice in the freezer right now. Once it gets hard enough, they'll drop it in that warm water. So, depending how all these things work out, and the subsurfacing in the underworld, whatever, right? The underworld in your hand is kind of, and the underworld as far as what they're eating is kind of all going together, as far as that MK Ultra artichoke heart, the artichoke, that's where the blessed art thou is no longer in. That creator is out there, okay? Because they have had their messaging system, their RNA whatever with, and with the crowning of that birth. And then you have the mRNA and the foods and all that shit going on. So all these things going together. And then that's where you, like the tick bites where the people can't eat meat anymore, right? That would be one of those 144,000. Okay, that's marked by the coming in to tell you about that tribulation that just fucking took place. Okay, singing a new song. We can't eat meat anymore. How are we just landing on Earth? We are the vegan. And we all went through that MKUltra, right? But it's not, no nation lives on that long term. It's just a diet or like a cleansing. I hate to say that word diet. It's a cleansing process, right? The diet means you're being put on that cross. And that daikon radish is not looking too good in the garden. That Dickon radish is growing just nicely, though. And that Sodom and Gomorrah, that sodium and Gomorrahs. Everything is right there in front of you. I happen to go to Art Institute of Dallas School, and advertising, graphic design, focused. Either way, that's where they teach you that all these things are, that's where you learn to blend. And that's where you know Amazon Prime's logo is a big weenie. And somebody got one of them needle dicks that have been jumping into the old infants. And I know a bunch of you sickos are going to go look at it. Because the purple party, that sick, is coming. And that big bootyful Bill is here. And I like big butts. Is going to be playing live on the Spectrum. Okay. You already got booby caps being sold today with the nipples. Before the Nipah virus. If you're not going to show the nipple, we will create a nipple we can show. And we're going to put it on the top of every man's head. Be part of the shortening of days. Be part of that, like, grabbing the head. You always grab a naked booby, right? Shake that shit. Wake the fuck up! Ha! Might grab it with two hands. Are you listening? Squeeze it. Get some of that milk out of there. Udder. You're taking into the Tiger King again, as he told you. You're all gay watching that dick going to T-Pusa. It's okay. You all worship that Georgie Washington that wore those wigs and high heels and shiny shoes and little flowing skirt in the back to cover his ass, and we just prop that up, like, make you think it's a girl. As you're all chumming on buttholes. It's part of the old dark sun rising, too. It's all been a test. Just because you're shown two girls in a cup, don't mean you go and start fucking pouring shit the next day in the toilet and eating it. Okay? Pretty fucking simple. The only way we bring back common sense is to put political correctness in the fucking closet again. Because